Qing Hengjun thought for a moment and patted Lan Wangji's head, seeing that he hadn't expressed any opinion on the completely different statements. Lan Wangji solemnly requested his father to make a judgment. Qing Hengjun smiled slightly and said, "Neither view's wrong. It's just that your understandings are different." Lan Wangji pushed away his father's comforting hand and said earnestly, "Father, this is not a matter to be taken lightly. My brother and I have opposing opinions and there can only be one correct view. Please make a judgment." Qing Hengjun was at a loss, caught in the gaze of his unblinking son. He looked at his stubborn young son with affection and resignation, saying, "You, Father, no." Lan Wangji interrupted, as Qing Hengjun pinched his almost wrinkled little nose. After a moment, Qing Hengjun pulled the brothers into his embrace, soothing the still murmuring Lan Wangji, whose protests were haphazardly muffled by his large hand. "And then?" Wei Wuxian asked unhesitatingly when he saw Lan Qiren smiling, stopping halfway through his story. "And then?" Sure enough, Lan Wangji's little fish didn't grow much. When it was time to reunite with the other fish in the big tank, it remained the one getting bullied. On the other hand, Lan Qiren's fish grew just as big as the other fish and, with its strong physique, never lost out when competing for food. Lan Wangji had no choice but to retrieve his little fish and raise it in a small tank by itself. However, he didn't believe he was wrong and continued to feed it only 3 pellets every day. He resolutely decided that this little fish would live on its own and not mingle with others. Qing Hengjun asked, "Without any companions? Won't it be lonely?" Lan Wangji held the small fish tank and replied in his childish voice, "It won't be lonely." Wei Wuxian said suddenly, "Isn't it supposed to be different?" "Huh?" Lan Qiren thought for a while. Although he was very young at the time, it was a rare occasion for the brothers to be together with their father, with their mother observing them closely from the little pavilion. It was a rare moment of togetherness for the family. So, after many years, he still vividly remembered the image of the gentian flowers swaying in the wind and their mother secretly smiling at him and Wangji from behind the raised window lattice. He remembered all the other details just as clearly. Lan Qiren showed a puzzled expression and then smiled, saying, "Xian, you weren't there. How could you think I remembered it wrong?" Wei Wuxian replied, "I was there." Lan Qiren was shocked. "How is that possible, Xian? How could you be there?" "No, that's not right." Wei Wuxian frowned and suddenly realized that his words didn't make sense. But why did he feel so vaguely that not only was he there, but he also somehow got involved in it? A dream. That dream. Lan Qiren was puzzled. A dream? Wei Wuxian smacked his forehead. "That day, I took a nap in Madame Qingheng's pavilion and had a dream. Foolish. A small figure, dressed in white, dangled 2 legs on a green pine that grew beside the courtyard wall, with his little head leaning on the green tiles, watching everything below with great interest. He gave a concise evaluation of Lan Wangji. After the 3 left, Wei Wuxian skillfully climbed over the wall, jumped down, and ran to the fish tank. He took the bag of fish food from a small wooden box placed on the stone table. With a mischievous smile, he threw 2 more pellets of fish food to Lan Wangji's little fish. The little goldfish swam to the surface, nodding its head with each movement, and swallowed the extra food in 2 bites. "It should eat enough," he concluded firmly. Voices seemed to emanate from the small pavilion behind him, and Wei Wuxian jumped in fright. The wooden door of the pavilion was gently opened, and a stunningly beautiful woman stood behind it, seemingly calling his name. Wei Wuxian hastily shoved the bag of fish food back into the box and hurriedly ran out of the small courtyard. As he dashed down the road, still shaken, he accidentally tripped over something and fell flat on his back with a thud. "You—" No running. A childish voice sounded above him, and a gentle, flawless face, as if carved from the finest jade, came into his still dizzy view. "Is it that little fool from earlier?" Wei Wuxian didn't expect the little fool to look quite good up close. As he rubbed his backside, he stared intently at the other person. The child, feeling uncomfortable under his gaze, asked with a stern face, "Who are you?" Wei Wuxian slowly got up from the ground, noting the other person's interesting little headband. As if afraid he might run away, Lan Wangji stepped forward and grabbed his hand, saying, "You've violated the family rules. Come with me to receive punishment." Although Wei Wuxian had plenty of ways to escape, he obediently let himself be led by Lan Wangji for a while. Outwardly calm but inwardly filled with mischievous thoughts, looking for ways to tease this little old-fashioned. Seeing Wei Wuxian remaining silent and not resisting, Lan Wangji gradually lowered his guard. Lan Wangji carefully observed him and finally took the initiative to ask with a cold little face, "What's your name?" "Me?" Wei Wuxian leaned in as if to whisper to him. Lan Wangji, not suspecting anything, tilted his ear closer. Suddenly, everything blurred before his eyes, and he felt a chill on his forehead. When he looked again, his forehead ribbon was already in Wei Wuxian's hand. Furious, he said, "Why did you take off my forehead ribbon?" "So, this thing is called a forehead ribbon," Wei Wuxian improvised. "Because you're wearing it wrong." Lan Wangji was surprised. "How do you know if I'm wearing it correctly or not? Are you from the Lan family?" On closer inspection, he noticed the other person indeed wearing the Lan clan uniform, the delicate cloud pattern embroidered with intricate craftsmanship, the smooth fabric without creases, and the subtle reflective imprint under the sunlight indicated that it was of the same high quality as his own clothing. Without thinking, Wei Wuxian replied, "Yes." Lan Wangji then asked, "Why aren't you wearing a forehead ribbon?" "Bad." The word flashed in Wei Wuxian's mind, though he didn't actually panic. On the contrary, he found it rather entertaining, and his mind became lively and active. He blinked and came up with an idea. "I'm too young to wear it." Lan Wangji nodded silently. That made sense. He had just recently been permitted to wear one himself, and this child seemed smaller and younger than him. Watching him still curiously playing with his forehead ribbon, Lan Wangji grew even more annoyed and said sternly, "If you are from the Lan family, you should know that only the destined one can touch the forehead ribbon." Wei Wuxian bluffed, "Of course I know." Seeing his confident demeanor, Lan Wangji thought back to the day his uncle placed the forehead ribbon on him. His uncle's words had been quite cryptic. Lan Wangji wanted to ask for more details, but was sternly rebuked instead and told, "You'll understand when you grow up. For now you should focus on studying hard, pondering how to conduct yourself righteously, and disciplining yourself. Don't always think about undoing the forehead ribbon." Lan Wangji said yes innocently, but a seed of curiosity had already been planted in his heart. He didn't dare ask any adults, fearing they would complain to Lan Qiren. Instead, he approached several children his age, but none could answer his questions. Lan Wangji squinted at Wei Wuxian's bright, sparkling black eyes and gently smiling peach blossom eyes, thinking he looked quite clever and mischievous, different from the well-behaved children attending lessons at the DECODED room. Perhaps he might be able to solve his puzzlement. Hesitating, he asked, "Do you know what destined one means?" Wei Wuxian's eyes blinked rapidly. Was he going to be tested on his knowledge already? Now he couldn't help but feel a bit panicked. He rubbed his nose and tilted his head to scrutinize Lan Wangji, thinking, "This clueless boy might not know either. I'll just make something up, as long as it's not too absurd." He mulled over the words, "destined one," in his mouth, like savoring a small piece of candy. After a while, an idea struck him. Wei Wuxian stated logically and methodically, "The destined one refers to the first person who unties your forehead ribbon, because you are destined to have a connection with him. Tell me, am I the first one?" Lan Wangji nodded. With utmost seriousness, Wei Wuxian misled him, saying, "So, I am your destined one then." To Lan Wangji's surprise, that turned out to be the intended meaning.